Sports, 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 sports.
Hey there, sports fans. Welcome to Sportsball, part of the SPDM Crew podcast. We talk about sports-related topics, but we focus on you, the fan, and what you like, whether it's a sport, team, event, sports-related topic that's making news, or a specific athlete. Today, let's talk some NFL, and we'll talk specifically about teams that in each division that are going in just opposite directions. So, for example, let's start with the AFC East, and let's talk about the Miami Dolphins, who are just cratering right now. Look, I get it. Tua Tagovailoa is one of those great quarterbacks, but he's not like a life-changing quarterback, like a once in a generation talent. He's constantly getting hurt, and it's just there's enough talent around that a lot of other quarterbacks should be able to plug in and be all good. I cannot believe that in a division that has the New York Jets with a 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers, along with the New England Patriots, who do not look good, but in their defense, they just beat the Chicago Bears. I don't understand how it's just possible for the Miami Dolphins to be this bad this year. On the flip side, you have the Buffalo Bills, who Josh Allen looks like an MVP candidate. It looks like he's gonna, at least garner a lot of votes. It's gonna be very dependent on how they finish the rest of the year, but I have a feeling that they're going to be doing great things for the playoffs, and hopefully with the addition of Amari Cooper and if their defense starts to step up a little bit more and maybe some slightly more consistent play from Josh Allen, we should be in good shape. Let's go to the AFC North, where we have, boy, the Cleveland Browns. Their defense is great. I would know. I drafted their defense in one of my fantasy foot or for one of my fantasy football teams, but their offense is just atrocious. And now without Amari Cooper around, and not to say that, the receiving core is the reason that they're struggling right now, but in addition to that, they also Nick Chubb does not look like his former self. Like, I get it. He is recovering from a horrendous knee injury, but Nick Chubb does not look like himself. And the Deshaun Watson trade just looks worse and worse every week that we go. It might very well be the worst NFL contract, maybe the worst sports contract of all time. But then you contrast that with the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens look great, and all those people who thought Derrick Henry looked wash, they you definitely need to, take a look at the situation right now and see that Derrick Henry just looks great. I bet you the Dallas Cowboys would love to have Derrick Henry on their team instead of a washed Ezekiel Elliott right now. And Lamar Jackson looks like he's playing the best NFL quarterback of his career. So Ravens are in good shape. I would be inclined to say the Bengals, but Joe Burrow just had a slow start to the year again. So I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. The AFC South is a dumpster fire, and it's pretty bad because the Texans should be running away with this, but the Texans are at least in good shape because they found their quarterback in CJ Stroud. They've got an amazing wide receiver core, even though the majority of them have gotten injured a bunch. So Stephon Diggs is out for the year. Nico Collins is going to be injured for a long time, or he's for an extended period of time. And Tank Dell just does not look great, which is too bad. But in addition to that, they've got Joe Mixon, who is doing really well, and their defense is playing solid, notwithstanding because, their Week 10 or their loss this past weekend to Detroit just doesn't look good on a lot of fronts. But then you contrast that with the Jaguars specifically. What happened to Trevor Lawrence? Like, what is going on? And like, this is a organization that just is not going to go anywhere. So I I'll be very curious to see what's going to happen at the end of the year, because they just gave Trevor Lawrence a giant bag of money, and Doug Peterson feels like he's going to be the scapegoat as usual. for something like this. So we'll see. In the AFC West, I surprisingly I am very very high on this Bo Nix experience for the Denver Broncos. And I think when Sean Payton kind of establishes a little bit more about what he's looking for, that defense is playing lights out. But and Bo Nix is doing okay. I think with continued improvement, he could get better, but they need more pieces around Bo Nix in order for them to really contend. I don't know why the Kansas City Chiefs look horrendous right now. And being 9-0 and having some just last minute wins under their belt, I don't have a whole lot of faith in them. And maybe Mahomes is just starting to get tired, and because Mahomes has just looked horrible this year. So I'm wondering if this is this is kind of what happens to somebody who they have played really well throughout the course of most of their career, and the mileage is just starting to add up. So maybe they get bounced at the end of this year, and they get a little bit more time to rest. So who knows? I could see a situation where Mahomes is like secretly injured as well, and that's why he's not playing so well. To the NFC, let's talk about the NFC East. And despite the fact that the Cowboys look horrendous, at least they don't have Daniel Jones, which is why the New York Giants just is an organization that just seems absolutely hopeless right now. Daniel Jones is not the guy. He's just not. He's a backup at best, and they spent a first round pick on him. They tried really hard putting some stuff around him. Daniel Jones is just not the guy. So they need to get rid of him, draft somebody else, give Brian Daboll maybe another chance. And then not the Philadelphia Eagles, the Washington Commanders, they look fantastic. They look really good. They need more pieces around Jaden McDaniels, and then they also need more pieces on defense as well. But it's really hard not to be excited about what the Commanders are building. You've got the NFC South, which again, just like the AFC South, it must be something about the Southern conferences for each division that look horrible. And despite the fact that the Carolina Panthers look horrendous as well, that still doesn't change the fact that I think the Saints look even worse because they started out so hot this year. They fired their head coach, and they don't have a quarterback of the future because Derek Carr is clearly not the solution. He was a stopgap measure. So we'll see how that pans out. But I'm actually kind of excited to see how Kirk Cousins will do in Atlanta. So I'm very happy with how Atlanta has been, trying real hard and doing a lot of great things this year. But I don't know, most of the teams in the NFC South don't look great. And another division that doesn't really look great right now is the NFC West. The 49ers, it's very easy to put them in the spot where it's like they don't look great. But on the flip side, the 49ers don't look great because they have just been riddled with injury after injury. And we will see what Christian McCaffrey will look like the rest of the year. But I don't see a situation where the San Francisco 49ers, once he comes back, don't look considerably better. Unlike the Los Angeles Rams, who Stafford's got to be getting towards the end, right? And that defense does not look good since Aaron Donald just decided to up and retire. So I'm very curious to see what's going to happen with that because I could see a situation where Geno Smith has like maybe a year or two left for the Seattle Seahawks, but I can't see a situation where Stafford remains there for much longer. And then finally to the NFC North. And unless the Chicago Bears clean house, they're the ones that I'm the most worried about. But the problem is, here's the thing. If the Chicago Bears clean house, then that's just another year wasted of Caleb Williams. No, he has not looked good lately. And these are things that were potential problems with him that a lot of scouts saw coming out of his final season at USC. He holds onto the ball too long. He can get reckless. He does a lot better when he improvises. It's been problematic, and his attitude has just been not great. It seems like everybody is ready to mutiny against Matt Eberflus. And you know what? Good, because Matt Eberflus sucks. he needs to be fired immediately. And then it pains me to say that the Detroit Lions look fantastic, but I watched that game last night, or it would be Sunday night when this gets released. I saw that game against the Houston Texans on Sunday Night Football, where they came down it was 7-23, and they ended up winning the game. Just all three levels of their team are just playing lights out. And it's really, really hard for me to be excited because I've hated the Detroit Lions my whole life. But the Detroit Lions look like the best team in football right now, which is the weirdest thing I've ever said about football, ever, maybe. But hey, weirder things have happened. It's been an exciting time for football. We're 10 weeks in, we've learned a lot. So yeah, get excited for the rest of the season. So, what do you think of this current football season? Were there any teams that have surprised you so far? Are there any teams that you're like, oh, they did better than expected, or yikes, this team looks horrible? Let me know. Let me know in the comments below. But that's going to do it for this episode of Sports Ball. Be sure to like, rate, and subscribe to anything and everything SPDM Crew wherever you get your podcast. Join us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, X, Threads, YouTube, and Blue Skies at SPDM Crew. Check out our website, soon to be out, at spdmcrew.com. Shout out to HiFlyer Creative Studios for making our awesome logo. Greatly appreciate their support. And if you have any marketing, logo, or brand standard needs, contact them at HiFlyerCreative.com. If you've got a podcast idea or you're interested in being part of the SPDM Crew as a guest or collaborating, email us at spdmcrew@gmail.com. Until next time, pain heals, chick stick scars, glory lasts forever.